guys, how's it going? So today we're gonna work on getting our fountains up and running. I cannot wait to hear that sound again. I always look forward to that every single spring. And then I've got a table full of beautiful stuff to plant. Look at this table full of fresh plants. Aren't they so pretty? So first off, we've got some blue anemones. These are also called windflowers. They're hardy anemones down to -20. It is early in the day, so their blooms do close up at night. So you can see like here, blooms close up. Hopefully by the time we plant them out today, they'll have opened up. If not, I'll toss a picture on the screen that I took yesterday. This whole flat was just like a massive color because all these blooms were fully open, but they're the most beautiful blue color. They grow about 4 to 6 inches tall, 6-inch spacing. I planted some white ones last year and they came back beautifully. And I do love the look of the leaves. So even when they're done blooming, because they are a spring bloomer, they are really nice to look at through the rest of the year. Next we have this Swan pink and yellow Columbine. I am a total sucker for Columbine. I think they're absolutely beautiful. The leaves are so delicate looking and they're so soft, and I actually like how they seed themselves around. They don't seem to be hard to control in that they're easy to pull if they seed themselves somewhere where you don't want them, but like who wouldn't want masses of these in their garden every single spring? And ours seem to bloom for a really, really long time. So this color just struck me. I was walking through the garden center yesterday and I just had to I got 3 of them. They grow about 18 to 24 inches tall, about 14 inches wide. And then of course, like I said, they do kind of want to see themselves, but because they're this bicolor pink and soft yellow, they kind of have this really beautiful, I don't know, almost like an apricot iridescent look. I love them. I've got 2 Munstead lavender here. I've got to, where I dug that tater tot arborvitae out, I need to plant one in that place and then one on the other side of the pathway. So these are gonna look so dinky compared to the established lavender hedge I already have, but they grow fast. We've also got a flat of butterfly blue, no, not a full flat, but a lot of them, a butterfly blue pincushion flower. This is a hardy pincushion flower. I'm growing several non-hardy varieties in our cut garden this year. I just started those seeds yesterday. But these flowers, the perennial type, are in bloom all season, it seems. And you don't have to deadhead them, they just keep blooming. They're just a workhorse perennial. They have kind of like a, I don't know, like a ferny look to them, the leaves. And then we've got my huge flat of onions. So I already planted onions in our raised beds in the vegetable garden. I planted roughly 100 in there. I gave a bunch to my parents and I think I seeded maybe between 500 and 600, too many. So I thought, you know what, I could just give these away to people who want to grow them in their garden. Or since we have all this open space out in the cut flower garden, the irrigation set up, why not just pop them out there and grow them on and then I can donate them. So I think that would be really awesome. So anyway, that is the plan for planting today. I need to go grab, I think the gator, I'm gonna grab all of my starter fertilizer, kneeling pad, shovel, and such. And I think we might, it's a little breezy out today. We might tackle the fountains first. So we have 2 fountains set up in our garden currently. I need to go up into the loft of the barn to get a hose. We just turned our water in so that I can fill them up. And they're both in the same area, so I can hit them with the same hose, which is awesome. I do have a couple other fountains I want to set up this year. We're not going to do that today because I need help lifting and moving those around. They're currently behind our barn, you know, the Hebe fountain. We might attempt to get her up and running if I can get the proper parts. And then I do have a new one from Unique Stone that I thought about putting up by our front entryway, but that's gonna start being torn apart. It was supposed to start yesterday, so it may start today, I'm not sure. This week sometime. And I thought I might wait until the bulk of that's done so that I don't risk anything happening to it. So let's go grab a hose upstairs. And there's our piles of hoses. This is where we store them all. They're all drained and emptied for winter and we just pile them up here. So I need to plow through and get a gray hose from the bottom. I grabbed 2 just in case. So here's the first one. This is the Grand Kensington 3-tier fountain. I considered staining it and sealing it, but you know what? It's gonna turn white from hard water really quickly, even if I do that. So I think I'm gonna skip that step this year. Got our hose faucet right over here. Also, these are looking a little better. They look gorgeous from the south side. Look at that. But this side, the north side, is starting to catch up. So we may be able to see them looking amazing and full. Oh my goodness, look at the size of this weed. So fountain setup is really easy. I know it can seem complicated, but I need to go find my parts in the barn, but it only consists of 3 things. I've got 2 drain plugs. So there's a drain hole in this level that we need to plug up. And then there's also a drain hole in this level right there. And then our pump, which our pump sits down in this housing here. There's a little door. And you know, the water level is this high in this level. So the pump's sitting underneath water. I'll show you in here. There's that kind of ribbed tube that connects to the pump, and the pump shoots the water through the tube all the way up. So the tube runs all the way up through the center of the fountain, and then it starts spilling over all the levels. And then to plug the fountain in, there is a hole right in the center there that has like a rubber stopper, but the cord will run through the center of it. I'll show it to you. So it plugs the water from draining out, but then the plug-in goes, or the cord for the plug-in goes down through the bottom and right down in here. You can see I have an extension cord already running under there to plug it in. I honestly usually leave them just laying in the fountain. I was trying to be more organized this year, and now I don't even know where to look for them in the barn. Yep, there it is. Yeah, so you can see the pump right here, completely crusted in hard water. This is what our hard water does to things. Isn't that horrible? But this is the rubber stopper right here. This is what goes through that bottom of where the pump housing. So you can see how it splits apart. The cord runs down through the center, and this just goes in the hole as tightly as we can get it. And then here are our 2 plugs for the different levels. Using a socket really makes it easier, and you can get the plug way tighter. Okay, now we just need to put the pump in. I did plug this in before I left the barn to make sure it was still working, and it was. So you want to do that before you go to the trouble of getting everything hooked up, because what a bummer if you filled up your fountain and then went to plug it in and your pump was dead. That would, well, I've been there, so I know it's a bummer. All right, here we go. Oh, spider webs. All right, let's go turn on the water. Working. Yep, look at that. Sometimes you just need to hit the pump a couple times. Mainly just to probably dislodge some hard water that had built up on the interior part of the pump. Woo, it's frigid. Oh, I love it. There was a little more junk than I could see. There was probably some in the housing right here too, because there is a small housing. You can see it right there. It's really hard unless I get the vacuum out with the long hose to clean the whole thing out, and honestly with the wind and such, it gets dirty pretty quick. I'm gonna fill it pretty much to the brim just because it's breezy, and then I'll probably just leave the hose strung out and come out here and top it up if I need to later today. And on days that are extra windy, like if the wind keeps on blowing today and if it gets any stronger, I'll probably just turn the fountain off. Otherwise the wind just blows a lot of the water out, and I don't want to risk running it dry because that burns up pumps really fast. Okay, now I need to stuff all these cords underneath the fountain. Isn't that beautiful? I don't know if you guys can hear it with the wind, but doesn't that sound awesome? So beautiful. And this whole area in here fills up with Gara. So the tulips that were in here have kind of slowly fizzled out, as a lot of tulips do. So I really should focus on planting a whole bunch of tulips in here this next fall. I filled it a little bit too full. But the whole rest of it is full of Gara, and it just fills up and is just gorgeous for the summer. Okay, we're gonna grab our other hose over here and head to the other fountain. So same story with this fountain here. I need to go find a plug for this drain hole. I am gonna grab a stiff brush too, because all of this stuff I think I could brush up and off the bottom there, and then I will bring the vacuum out, and I think I'll try to get some of this stuff, yeah, because it's like flaking off. I'll try to clean some of this residue from last year off. I left the fountain, or the pump rather, in this one from last year. Oh, in the plug, look, here it is. Awesome. Anyway, I left the pump in here and it was actually plugged in when I came over here just now. And the pump was running. I could feel it, like I could feel the vibration, so hopefully it'll work. I don't know if it's been running all winter or not. Oh my word. Plug that this fountain has right here, you can see it's not threaded, and I can never get a watertight seal on it, so I typically use a gray putty that I can't find. But I did find that we have some of this. Greg left this behind after putting in our pondless waterfall last year, so I'm going to use some of this professional waterfall foam sealant. So this should work. That looks pretty good. Thanks for leaving that, Greg. Okay, now I need to go hook up the hose and get the reservoir filled with water before we plug it in. Thanks, baby. Can you just put it on the gravel over there, sweetie? Thanks, sweetheart.
I have to do some fixing and doing my work. It's working?
Oh, sorry, buddy. Are you okay? Come here. Here, I'll dry you off. Come here. Let me dry you off.
It's like a car wash.
Hold on, here, please. Got it. Yeah, that was like major car wash style, wasn't it? Well, that one took some doing too, but the pump still works, even though it was maybe even running all winter long in there. There was some hard water buildup inside the pump that I had to really work on getting dislodged, but we got it done. And I'm just filling it the rest of the way now. I'm really happy with that. So this one, since it's breezy, we probably can't hear it, but it's just like a nice gentle trickle. And I just really love the shape of it. I've always loved this. I think it's called the Hospitality Fountain, if I am not mistaken. I can't remember quite. And this area is likely to change a little bit. I mean, I'm planning on keeping the pallet walkway. That is in, what is it, 4 years now? So to everybody who thought it would rot immediately, This is how dry our climate is. I understand that in some climates it wouldn't work, but it's worked great here. But I imagine that this line is probably gonna change a bit just because we're gonna not have the concrete pad there. We might even connect the two somehow depending on how it looks and, you know, the positioning of the greenhouse and all of that business. So anyway, super happy with the fountain. Okay, so now that we've got the fountains done, we can do some planting. So I'm gonna start with the flowers first because those will all be closer to the house, and then we'll take the onions out to the cut flower garden slash onion garden slash I'm gonna plant potatoes in there tomorrow, I think. We gotta go load up plants though, bud. So what are you putting in here? Can you explain what all these tools are for?
For Dad.
They're for Daddy. Is Daddy working on the water out there? That cuts pipe, bud. Be careful. Do you think Daddy needs those?
So I could put the other one.
Oh. Okay, one more part and then we're gonna take the gator to the greenhouse, okay? Yep, good job. All right, let's go find Daddy and give him your tools. Gonna hop up?
I have to go water plants.
Yeah, let's go to the greenhouse and we'll find Daddy.
And I'll go back to the barn.
Yeah, we'll come back to the barn and you can help me put the tools away.
No.
Well, that's part of it, bud. And you get tools out, you have to put them back away when you're all done. I should grab the auger. That'll make this go real fast. Benjamin is gathering tools for you right now.
Oh, good.
See, look what he's got for you in the back of the gator.
What is this?
Yeah. Oh my.
Great job. What are these? Oh, yeah, that's great, Benjamin.
He's got you some flags and a PVC cutter, some orange paint, and some twine. Oh, and there's some more string. There we go.
What I really need is some half-inch.
Uh-oh.
Brown.
Yeah.
Because I'll tangle up.
Yeah, all tangled up.
Now I have to open the trunk.
Would you like some help opening the trunk? You know what else it's called? A tailgate.
See?
Yep.
I have to pick up this.
Okay, I need a drill and an auger. You're not using the gator, are you, Aaron? Because I'm using it right now for plants. So here are the anemones. So you'll see on top of the soil, you might be wondering what all of that white stuff is. And that is soil acidifier and planktone and hollytone. Aaron and I went through a couple days ago and fertilized everything. And we were doing that before we put a fresh layer of mulch down. So there are actually perennials in here. There's some liatris in here, daisies. There are some hardy geraniums that have purple leaves that are starting to come up, but you can barely see them right now. Look at that. I was trying to make sure to dodge those. But this is really the only area that doesn't have much. And obviously there's no spring color in here. So I thought just kind of grouping them together right here by the edge would be really pretty. And I'm not sure how these are gonna naturalize. Hopefully they will. I would love it if they would spread. Like, I do need a few more to finish. I kind of decided to make it a little bit of a swoop right here, so I could plant something different there just because I didn't have enough to fill the whole area. But I think they're just the sweetest things, and now you can really see what they look like with their blooms open. And they always look a little bit like sad after you plant them because they kind of splay out a little bit. So they just need a chance to root in and kind of make this spot their home. And I do have some Ambridge roses right here. I think that's what they are. Let's see. Yep. So those have a really pretty apricot colored bloom. Not that they're going to be blooming at the same time as these, but anyway, that's just what's there. And then I planted the Munstead lavender actually right on the end of this. You can see the established hedge right here. In the shade right now, in the sun in the morning, so I'm hoping they do okay. I may have to do something different. It's kind of funny how drastically different. We've got sun and shade. So that one went here, this one there. And then over here in this bed, I planted all of the pincushion flowers in a group right here. And there are Limetta hydrangeas in here. There's a ton of stuff in here. There's lamb's ear that's just starting to pop through. There are some Veronica asters. I planted the Columbine right here because I would love for it to seed itself around a bit. I think I've got Veronica right here and here. And I'm not sure. I'm like, are you alive? Oh, maybe there's a little bit of growth starting to pop through. Anyway, we're a little early yet. But the Columbine typically gets a little bit taller, so I thought I could do like a little drift of 3, and then if I need to plant something lower, I can kind of do a drift this way. And you might notice all of our drip lines. So Paul's been working on this. We had previously, I ran the drip in here before we did everything in a grid system, and I had started the drip over here, and I just went in a circle, like round and around and around and around until I ended up in the middle somewhere. And we've just had the biggest issue is trying to keep this flower bed watered. So now it's all in one giant grid system. They're all spaced properly, roughly 18 inches apart, the runs are. So when you do that and put a lot of drip in an area, you don't have to water or like run your water as long. And we have so many zones that that's kind of important for us to not have to keep each zone on for an enormous amount of time. Anyway, it's kind of nice to get all of the fertilizing done and some planting done before we put our layer of mulch down to hide all of the drip tubing. And that's it for flowers, so now we can go get all those onions in the ground. I'm kind of excited about that. Also, this is what I used to dig all the holes. This is the auger, the white one from Proven Winners. Anyway, it really does make quick work of everything, even with the 6-inch size Columbine.
That's mine.
Is that yours? Be careful with it. Even with the bigger containers, I just do multiple holes right next to each other, and it's super quick. So we took a little break for lunch, and now we're gonna go fly this kite with Benjamin real quick. It's Paw Patrol, buddy. Well, we ended up breaking the kite. We had to create our own wind and ride around on the gator, and it worked for a little bit, and he had a good time. But anyway, here we are in the cut flower garden. First 2 rows, I hope, have flower seeds in them still. I planted them. A couple days later, we had a huge windstorm that was blowing soil everywhere out here, and some of these seeds are only 1/8 of an inch deep, and I just thought, oh, for crying out loud. Anyway, I've been out here watering them 3 to 4 times a day, trying to keep them moist. Anyway, we'll see what happens. But I do have this 3rd row. When I came to plant the cut flowers, I amended that 3rd row as well. I put Land and Sea and Biotone starter fertilizer. So it's actually ready to go, and that's where we're gonna put onions. I think that's one of the reasons I love this space so much. It's like, oh, you have a little space right there? Sure, you got extra onion plants, let's just pop them right there. There's really no rhyme or reason, and I think there's something a little bit magical about that in a garden when there's not so much structure. I mean, you guys know how the rest of our garden tends to lean a little bit more formal, so this is kind of like my outlet to do whatever I want. And then I did show you when I planted onions in our vegetable garden what these look like. We started these seeds several weeks ago, and you seed them really heavy and then just separate them. So there's a ton of seeds here, or plants rather. Okay, so let me show you how you take these apart. So I just loosen the bottom a little bit and usually just kind of break it apart on one side. And then you can start just easing each onion plant out. And you can see that each one has a root system. So the next one, and you just keep doing that. They smell good. Anyway, so like this little cell right here has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 21 plants in one cell. It's a really efficient way to grow them. All right, so those are ready to roll. All planted and watered in. There are 4 rows, so 1 row on either side of that outside piece of drip tape, and then 2 rows on the interior. And we have roughly 6 feet at the end of this row where I can plant something else. And I think there's around between 400 and 425 onions here. Some cells had 20 and 21 onions. I think my biggest one had 23, and then I had a couple cells that were just 10, 11, and 12 onions. So anyway, that's a lot. I spaced them about 4 to 5 inches apart, gave them enough room to bulb out. And onions, all alliums really, are heavy feeders. So what I'll do after these root in, they always look kind of puny and like flopped over for a little while right after you plant them. And in about 1 to 2 weeks, they'll start perking and they'll have rooted in a little bit and they'll start growing. I'm gonna come in with more compost and I'm gonna side dress each one of these rows so each one has a lot of nutrients to pull from. I need to go pull this piece of drip tape, hold on. So the first part of the row is candy onions, all the way, lots of candy onions, all the way to here. There's the stake, and then there's Walla Wallas to the end until I get to my one sweet yellow Spanish Utah onion. I only had one come up. So there it is. So anyway, that's pretty much it for today. I love the fact that the fountains are up and going, that I was able to plant some actual flowers in the ground. You know, we've done trees and things like that that didn't have any leaves on them, but putting something pretty in the ground, there's something different about that. I just FaceTimed Aaron because he said, as soon as you're done with that, let's get the water hooked up so you don't have to hand water this stuff anymore, which I'm excited for. But he said I'm completely covered in dirt, including a nice dirt mustache, but I can't tell in the camera, so if I can't see it, it doesn't exist, right? Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.